Hello and welcome to another Undertale Christmas craft. In the description down below you'll find a link to the template, and I got mine printed at Officeworks and also got my 300 GSM paper from there. So what I did was I got these two sheets which you can find in the template. They're just reverse images of each other. You will need both because what you will do is glue the two of them together. And in order to ensure that they match up very well, I held my page up to the light. You could do this with a window and just make sure the two lines are, all the lines are crossing over each other perfectly. I used the Elmer's Extreme glue stick for this. I find that it works very well with paper crafts. And you can usually get that from Officeworks as well, so yeah, that's the place to be. Alright, so your next step is just to cut out everything in the template. We're going to start with papyruses first. When you get to the envelopes, what you're going to do is just cut between them, and using the same technique as what we used with the other two letter pages, we're just going to glue them back to back. So once again, hold it up to the light and make sure that there isn't that they're completely overlapped, so that way when you cut it, it will be perfect either side. When you get to Sans, you can cut off these two little tabs because he has his letterbox door open. Alright, now what you're going to do is, if you want to use this as an ornament, now would be the time to poke two holes into the top part of the mailbox with a pin and use some invisible wire. Otherwise, what we're going to do is start folding this craft up. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just folding down those two top tabs and folding the longest part across. And I'll also fold down the flap to make the square base. And then I'll use the two flaps as a guide to fold over the top flap, and whatever space you have left at the bottom, you're going to fold that up and use glue to attach that to the base. And for the next part, I trimmed an extra little part of the tab off just so mine would fit a little better. And I'm just taking the other side and folding down all of those tabs and folding over the bottom and gluing that piece of the bottom to the base. And then I went over with scissors on the inside to completely glue it down. Then I take the front flap, put a little bit of glue on that, and hold that to the mailbox. You won't need to do that when you're making Sans. I wound up using a bit of glue all to make it a little bit stronger in some places, and I use that to attach the little flap. Apparently my flap is the wrong way around. I apologize for that. I live in Australia. We do not have this kind of thing. Anyway, with the black part, what you want to do is measure out how high you want your mailbox to be and then just cut off the excess. Keep that part because we'll be using it in a minute. Add glue to one side of your paper and roll it up to make your pole. So now that we've made our pole, we're going to turn over the excess that we cut off earlier, and we're going to lay the end of the pole down and trace around it. And then what we're going to do is cut an even bigger circle than the one that we've traced to give us room to cut the little frayed edges that we will need to push into the pole. Next, we'll be putting some glue onto those edges. Now, don't be afraid of getting glue on the top because we'll be putting more glue there to attach to our mailbox in a moment. So just use your fingers and squeeze those little excess bits down into the pole, and when that dries, that'll give us a little bit more of a base to add our mailbox to. As for what we'll be sticking the mailbox on in total, if you added holes at the top for invisible wire or fishing line, then it's good as is. Otherwise, in a future update, we'll be making some snow puffs and some just little clumps of snow to go with our display for Snowden, and you can add him to that. Alright, now for Sans, as I mentioned before, you cut off the two little tabs at the front, and I've already gone ahead and folded that square base shape in. This looks like a perfect craft for a bone folder. But anyway, so just glue the back panel on to the base, but don't completely glue up your mailbox just yet. By the way, while I'm working on this one, I've already gone ahead and rolled up my pole for the mailbox because I already know now how long Papyrus's is. And because this one's going to need a little bit more stability, I wound up using some more glue oil because Sans's one will be a little bit more roughed up. Once you've cut out the letters from the page that you glued to be double-sided, you're going to squeeze it in order to make it fit inside of Sans's mailbox. Of course, this piece will be much too large, so you will be trimming bits, but he's got letters that come out of the front and the back. And if you don't have enough, just print off more than one copy of each sheet. And this is the reason why we didn't do up our mailbox. It's so that way we know for sure how much room we're going to have and how many of our letters can fit in there. And I'm also going to use a bit of glue and some sticky dots to wind up sticking it all in there. So it's a good thing we didn't seal it up. Looking good so far. Now that I've trimmed up my scrunched up paper, I'm going to go ahead and add some sticky dots and stick it to the sides and the bottom of the mailbox. And when I'm done with that, I'm going to add some sticky dots to the back flap. I'm not going to seal up the back flap all the way because I'll need some letters to poke out at the front. So depending on how you've scrunched it, then that's going to depend how many of those little tabs at the back you wind up sticking up. And when you're done, you'll add a few more sticky dots to the front flap so that way it can be closed, and if someone looks at it from the bottom, then the flap won't be white. Now that I've seen how much of the arch that I'll need, I'm going to go ahead and just sticky dot up the rest. I want it to dry really quick, so that's why I'm using the sticky dots as opposed to, say, the glue all, or and the glue stick would not be good enough for strength. And then I'm going over it with some scissors to bang it up. Just be careful you don't wind up cutting up your work. And then I'm scrunching it out with my fingers and shoving it all in there, making sure it looks good, and getting extra paper to fill up the gaps where there is any. If you liked what I did today, please feel free to visit my Patreon down below. any support that I get on there helps me to buy things like cardboard and get things printed and make templates, so that way everyone gets all these awesome tutorials. I hope that you guys have enjoyed it so far. It's my first time in a long time that I've actually been really excited for Christmas, and I think it's because I've been making all these stuff for the Christmas tree, like Pokemon Go and Undertale, which of course is like my favorite game of all time. And of course, I love making my mum happy. She's had a few years where she has only gotten out the Christmas tree at the very last minute, like on the day. So having the Christmas tree out early with lots of decorations on it has made her happy as well. So that's been wonderful. What are you guys planning on doing for Christmas? Are you spending it with family? Are you going out? We are doing a smaller lunch than usual because we've got less family members this year, unfortunately. But it should still be lots of fun. And I've bought everyone's Christmas presents all early, so I am set. As you can see here, I'm taking some of those extra envelopes that we double-sided earlier and sticking them so that way it gives it more of a little 3D effect. And I'll also add a couple more of these to the base of the mailbox when we're done so that it matches the game more closely. And there you have it. We have papyruses, which is of course empty, and sans, which is full as. And I use some sticky dots on the pole for Sans's. It makes it a little bit more wobblier, but still it should hold up, whereas Papyrus's is solid. I love the current theory on why Sans has all of his letters in his mailbox and Papyrus doesn't, because Papyrus reads his as soon as he gets it, but poor Sans, he has been through so many timelines, he knows what everyone is going to say, and it's so sad. But I don't want to leave you on a sad note, so I'll see you guys soon with some more crafts, next time with clay. So look forward to that. Alright, thank you guys. Bye!